Oh, we're starting the show.
Oh.
No, and we're live.
We are live. How's everyone? Happy Tuesday.
Alive, gonna set the whole goddamn place on fire.
What's going on, everybody? Tuesday night, time for Toke. I'm puffing on some coffee crisp hash right now, doing the trick really quite nice. G-Bay, you got a great big smile on your face. You look really happy. What are you smoking on tonight? You must be pretty good to be grinning like that.
Yeah, I just had a big it's funny. I have some RSO here that was made quite a while ago, because last time I had some was over a year ago. I was just moving my nightstand around and found it, so I put a big glob of that onto my jelly bean bong I just smoked, and I think it works.
I love it. Sounds like a hell of a time.
Treasures.
Let's kick it downstairs to Sniff. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing just great. I'm having a great evening. Hope everyone on the panel's great, and hope chat's having a great evening as well. So it's good to be great.
It's great to hear. What are you smoking on tonight?
I'm smoking on some Quebec Blue, my old regular. I got a lot of that stuff in the jars, so I'm smoking on that for a while.
Sounds good. Let's say hi to Fluff. How you doing, my man?
Hey, what's good, everybody? Oh, I'm just sitting here. I got me some blowback from last round, and I'm vaping on, and I got me some Yeti stash sugar cookie that I'll be dabbing on this evening. Fucking fantastic shit. It's so nice to actually get some quality dabs for, it's not dispensary, just not giving a shit, blasted, junk trim fucking dabs that they give out. This stuff is, it makes you appreciate the work that goes into it and the cost that it costs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've got to step up in dabs myself last night. I'm sure it's not nearly as good as what you're smoking on there, but I've just been smoking on shatter lately because I found a very cheap, reliable source. And so you got to go where the fucking pennies are smart. And with the old lady, she brought me home some strawberry shortcake sauce, it just says. I don't really get much of a shot in there, but it's just has like fuel terps to it. There we go. That's kind of what I look for there. And just fucking been loving all that. It's something different. I've been smoking on the same thing for a bit, but like I said, that same thing has been effective for a minute. What do you got figure? Dab time? I think we'll get right into it, eh? I see chat's loading up already. Cheers, Hooley, Thunderdan, Red Pill, Dr. LeBay, Skunk Ape's in there, Smiley's Garden in there, AWOL Gina, Donkey Kong, Kingfisher, Small Tubes, Not Poker, Archie Be Grown, J. Patrick, Rowdy 420. I just about hit the outro video. It's like, all right, and we're done. Thank you again. Good night.
That's a wrap, folks. It was a good one. Good show, everybody.
Yeah.
Fucking good night.
We appreciate y'all.
No, we actually will have a guest tonight too. He contacted Cariboo, said it would be a little bit late this evening. Probably more like, Brandon Russ, Dr. Lane late, not Remo late. So we appreciate that comparison.
Yeah, it's funny because if you didn't use that tonight, I would have. So I already had it in my head. That was a great one when I saw that one. So
Damn
thank you, dude, for bringing that one in, because there's definitely a stark contrast.
Yeah.
Okcalyxx is a lot of fun. I really enjoy having him around. And when we had a guest cancel on us, not short notice, I guess, we found out yesterday. And it was just like, okay, do we just wing it and go no guest, or do we try and get someone short notice? And I sent Fluff a message, kind of, hey, what do you think? Is it too soon to get him back? Because we just had him on within the last few months. And it was like, fuck no, get him on. That dude's a lot of fun. Right now, you see him. Last video of him I saw, he was shredding pine cones through a chipper so he can make some IMO 4s, I believe it was he was going to. I'm just like, God damn. I ain't never thought of that. I just like to see what this guy does. It's he's got a great attitude as well.
Yeah, man, he's super cool dude. Just trying to get his stuff done like a lot of us on the cheap. Quality as possible. Knowing your inputs, things like that, and it's. I like the fact, this is usually about time when gardens are winding down, and things like that. Yeah, he's still, steady making these things right for the garden next year, and storage of some of his things, or, what he plans on doing throughout the year, or throughout the winter, for some of these outside things that don't come in, just to, get his thoughts and everything that happens on those. I love this stuff.
Yeah,
he's a busy boy, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I was telling you guys, I'm loving that fact that he's making that his own bokashi, mix and getting it out there, and making it with waste coffee. So it's great to. I love that stream. That was something my mother used to do for her garden years ago. That was great for her worms in her compost bins. That was a little bit of top dressing, for the garden when it needed a little love. So that was something she taught me years ago. But I never would have thought about, doing the inoculation and doing like a bokashi type thing out of it. So, that's super fucking cool to me.
Yeah, it's great out of the box stuff. I love it. Can't wait for him to get here. When he is, I here's one that it's a long shot, and I honestly don't expect to see any biters, but on this, because I think most of y'all live way the fuck far away. But if anybody that's living in the Okanagan area of BC is interested in going to see that Anthrax and Black Label Society concert here in about a week and a half, I've got an extra ticket. One of the guys I worked with, still work with, he had something come up and he had to jam out on me. And so he's got a ticket just sitting there. And if basically all you got to do is show up to claim the ticket, and it costs you shit with gas money to get there. So it's a potential floor ticket to Anthrax, Black Label Society, and Exodus on the 21st. DM me if you're interested. I'd much rather give it away to someone than see it go to waste.
If I leave now, I'll get there in time.
It's a short flight, If you drive, you'll get here right about time for the show. That'd be great. I'll split a hotel room with you. Don't worry.
Man, you know what? About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I probably could have made this flight, but I don't think that's in the cards anymore.
It'll be a fun one. Looking forward to that one. See what my kid thinks. She's been to a couple of shows now. She's never been to a metal concert. So So it'll be a little bit louder, a little bit more aggressive. I don't think there's going to be any beach balls getting batted around in the audience, but I could be wrong. Never know. But
You know, I'm a big fan of the Anthrax, but I don't know if I would call it a metal show. They're a little soft, I guess, man. But
in comparison to what though? Like if you're looking at Cannibal Corpse, it's like, yeah, no, not at all. But for back in the day, like bye Fluff. Back in the day, did I do that or did you do that?
I think you did that. I don't know why.
I didn't mean
What
to.
did I do to you? Jeez.
I don't know. I did have the mouse underneath my hand. I think I just bopped it with this thing. Fuck, I forgot. I distracted myself. I don't even
You
know
got
what I
dab
was
tooled
saying.
right out of here.
It's like, yeah, fuck. I know when I'm not wanted. That's fine.
I'll see my way out.
Yes. No, not anymore. Fuck, you know how to kick me out. Do it again, fucker.
Here's your hat.
You
What's
just
your
come
hurry?
back. I fucking unfortunately you got the keys to the ring. Oh yeah, okay. So that's what it was. Anthrax, be it whether like considered metal and stuff. Yeah, I definitely would consider a metal, but like, you know, when you look at it back in the 80s, they were heavy when they came with the tide. But as everything else involves, fuck you know, Metallica is not even heavy compared to shit like Cannibal Corpse. So it's that argument can be made as well. Slayer, on the other hand, fucking nothing about them isn't metal, and just, you know, that argument.
They are quintessential metal.
I was reading something just today, actually, and a little bit of yesterday. Kerry King's all pissed off about Slayer retiring because he's had playing live taken away from him. And I'm just like, I wonder if that means we'll get to see them coming back at some point in time. But I don't want to see new music. Please, no new music. Because just sometimes bands just need to know when to call it quits.
You know, that's so true. But then there's some that it's still just as good as it was way, way back when. Although it still sounds the same as it did way back when. But at least there's something for consistency.
I fucking Bees' comment there about SOD making a comeback. I would absolutely love that, but in this day and age, I don't think they fucking could. I think you would have so many fucking protesters at your show. But holy fuck, yeah, because it's not a PC correct band, I guess you could say, if anybody doesn't know about that. But great fucking album, great album.
Oh yeah, that'd be like, yeah, let's bring back the Wasp. You remember Wasp?
Oh yeah, Mikey Lawless. Yep, fuck like a beast.
Shit, man, that was some good stuff back in the day. Man, I haven't listened to that in a long. Guess what I'm listening to later? Fuck yeah, I haven't put that one in the list in a long time. I'm gonna have to now.
Yeah, gotta love that. The one that I've been listening to a lot lately is Jackal. I've was big on them back in the fucking 90s, and then one of those bands that kind of just goes and comes and goes and comes. Thank God for Spotify. But a couple months ago, I came across, they did a cover of is it Hot Chocolate that does Everyone's a Winner? You know, everyone's a winner, baby. I'm not singing more than that. You guys know it. But
I think maybe.
Yeah, they do a cover of that where you're just like, this is fucking good. And so I've had a deep dive back into Jackal. So I'm hoping like hell maybe at some point they'll come near here on tour.
Dude, I think the last time I listened to Jackal, I was actually hanging out with them. Like my brother was playing with them at some show, and we got to hang out with them and fucking, you know, just hanging out, shooting the shit. You know, it was more like a family atmosphere than it was fucking anything. It was pretty sad when you think about hanging out with the band, you know, at the show and shit.
Yeah.
But man, it was a good time. You know, he's what's his name? The singer. He's
Jesse James Dupree.
Yeah, Jesse. He's something else, man. He's a riot, dude. He's got stories for fucking days. Man, he's a good time.
Oh,
No, he didn't let me play with the chainsaw. He probably would have if I asked, but
that'd be great. Great. That's so anybody that doesn't know, Jackal does the lumberjack song where they've got the chainsaw up there doing the solos and shit like that. And it's actually pretty good. Cro-Mags are dope bees, but only if they got John Joseph singing for them. The version with Harley going on these days, not the same. Not the same. I don't know if that's crazy. We got Smiley crying there, right? His ears hurt.
I'm just thinking, man. I just had a picture of you just strapped into a tree, fucking chainsaw song on, fuck the lumberjack song. You just taking branches out to the song. I could see it happening. Oh yeah,
it's a great time. And then I'll even sing the chainsaw part as I'm cutting too.
Yeah, well, absolutely, man. Throw a little fucking sawdust around while you're fucking doing it.
I remember we were down in Abbotsford, BC area, climbing in this park, and it was the day the new Body Count album had come out. I think it was Carnivore was the album that year, and you're listening to it on Spotify because you have the ability to do that and shit like that. And like that was a fucking great one to get the blood pumping and fucking climb some trees. All that had like a heavy metal version of not 6 in the morning, was it Colors? And there's another song I can't remember what one is off there. Where you're just like, fuck yeah. I remember I mentioned something about it on Twitter and I was like, fucking Ice-T fucking liked that and retweeted it. And I was just like, oh my fucking God. So I was like, it's a great fucking music for climbing trees and knocking tops off or some fucking shit like that. And I was like, oh my God, just totally all fucking fanboy. Ice-T acknowledged my existence. Oh my God. It's like, take my undies. He didn't want them. I was like, fuck that.
That's awesome.
That almost sounds like a top chat experience.
Better get out of there and into live.
Is that what that is? Fuck yeah.
There, we got that fixed.
Thank you for that, Sniff. We definitely would not have figured that one out. And we know it's true because we get that video loaded up on here every fucking night before a show and we never play it.
Dude, I love that fucking video too. I don't know how I don't remind you of that more often, being as that is the thing that cracks me up the most is the whole Top Chat live chat thing. That doesn't make a fucking difference. But let's all be in fucking live chat, all right? Because it might, I don't know.
At some point in time, it may.
That in the video fucking rocks.
It is. It's in fact nothing least. If there's nothing else, it's at least a good excuse to play a cool video.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Gosh, now I got to do that. Fucking kill me here. So I actually kind of was wondering, you know, G-Bay, when you get ready to throw out the garden this year, are you going to be doing any of these types of practices like Okcalyxx does? You know, are you looking into wanting to do any of like the Jadam or, you know, make up some of your type of IMOs or anything like that?
I may do some minor stuff, but honestly, I can only do that kind of stuff in my dreams with just the setup I have. Busy life. The wife's got a job now, full-time hours, 3 dogs. I don't know if I'd be able to have the responsibility to stay on top of something that sits alive. So to collect that rice collection, something I'm after, because that seems like a good entry level. Because we were talking to was it Miles? Maybe I was talking to about it. It was on the show a few weeks back. Anyways, one of our guests prior, we had a discussion about the collection through the rice method. I live a block away from forests, multiple directions, so I should be able to do that no problem, and get some stuff inoculated and going on. But I might have to keep it just on a very simple level myself. But
See that, and that's kind of why I was wondering. So, right, simple level. That's all about me and you didn't live a whole lot of different life. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I got a lot of my start with the things like the Jadam and some of these natural, because there's not a whole lot of work that when you make a fuck it bucket. There's a reason it's called the fuck it bucket. You throw everything in there, you walk away, and you say fuck it. And you come back, you can dip into it, right? There's not a lot of work that goes into it. It's just getting that, bucket moving, getting it, there's nothing to it. You just got to get the shit and put it in the water, right? And then throughout the year, right, you're doing yard work, you're doing your stuff. You add a little more material to it, you boost it up as it's going. So, for something like you, I was just wondering, it would be something that you could do. But also with your dogs, it might be a problem because when it gets stinky, I know you were saying your dogs.
I try to. They're very disciplined dogs, but like people always say about their breeds or whatever. But like huskies, honestly, are like toddlers almost. They like to dick around a lot, man. They act nice and pretty. They're like, "Hey, what, man? I wasn't doing nothing." You turn around, they're back into mucking around. And they will find the stinky stuff and fight over it and dig it up. Because I even have my garden fenced off the way I do. You guys see it. They crawl under like a small, like under a bench to get over to that side. It's like a game for them. So I'm at no, I can't do anything like that really. It sucks because I have to watch it and learn about it and then like not practice it right now currently. I will eventually. The dogs won't be here forever, but it's not like
I wonder if that would.
I'm not like waiting for my dogs to die either. So.
I just wonder if that would be something they would leave alone, because typically, like acrid plant matter isn't something a dog's really after. Usually it's got to be some even acrid meat. They're interested in, or not acrid, but
I could try.
Yeah, well, it's just if you put a 5-gallon bucket out, throw some shit in there, let it get all funky, and then see what happens. I mean, I'm sure when you initially put the stuff in with the rainwater, yeah, your dogs probably want to come over there and drink it, but you should have some kind of cover to at least try to keep a little bit of bugs out of it.
Yeah.
So it might work out for you. And I was just wondering, if you did, I'd love to see the results of what happens in the garden and the overall thoughts throughout the year on it. Because
I'd like to do something along that avenue because I've kind of reached the end of where you can go with like just your generic backyard growing. I've gotten to I don't know. I need something now that's going to make it go, holy fuck.
Steroids.
Yeah, we're already at the point. Okay, we maxed this thing out. We got stocks like this. We have
steroids.
We're doing well. So it's like I was watching it was just tea videos on tea, compost tea, but it was these old school farmers in Alaska, and I guess it's the combination of sunlight hours and just being old school dudes, but they were growing these pumpkins, man. Like I'm telling you, if you guys check it out, organic compost tea farming Alaska, blah blah YouTube, you'll find it. But oh my god. And I was like, okay, that's what we need to do next. It's like start getting not just a simple compost tea, but like bump it up to the level of what Okcalyxx is doing and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, right, or like you were talking earlier, Miles, from the fermented plant extracts, making some fermented plant extracts, right? Those things they're fantastic. Most of it can be done on the cheap and really don't take that much work. You know what I mean? It's the work is that you have to take. I've got some rice wash sitting here inoculating right now, getting ready to get the milk put in to make my labs. It's sitting right back there. Yeah, the work is waiting, the 2-3 days to get it ready to inoculate, then to, put the milk in, and then just store it again. That's the real work in something like that. It takes 2 seconds of work, then, a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm. You basically got to prepare the environment. That's your
yeah.
I'm
Yeah, not
interested in using labs this season because I was looking around and talking to a bunch of people, and they were all saying for the powdery mildew that we get here in Ontario, one of the only things really to use is like something like that.
yeah.
it's supposed to be
I
great for
mean,
that.
I'm a big fan. All my plants get inoculated with labs from an early age, and usually every at least 2 weeks, they'll get a fucking lab foliar. And I make a lot of labs around here just for the reason that I use them probably way more than I need to.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the results I have, so I probably
No,
probably
I
have to
had
feed more.
powdery mildew gets us around here. It's I don't know. You can always strain hunt and do whatever. And I've opened up my growing style so that I don't have any crowding or none of that. But it just still gets with the hot days, cold nights, and the cycle the exact opposite of what they tell you you want. But um, just the moisture build up and it doesn't go away. We've tried doing the leaf blower in the mornings and stuff too. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that then you're just giving yourself more chance of molding your shit from
Well,
using a
that's
leaf
the
blower.
yep. We were saying that you're probably pushing water inside one half of the lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pushing water inside the flowers. So
Yeah, best off, man. The things like that. The PM isn't because of the water sitting on it. It's those temperature fluctuations that's really helping that shit thrive and get in there. But I definitely this year I really want to try the strength of the labs. I've always had fair luck outdoors with the PM, and like I said, I do use a lot of labs to spray outdoors.
mm-hmm.
But this year, I have azaleas out in the front of my house that are just every year just covered in powdery mildew. I've tried a couple different things, minor homemade solutions without trying to fry my bushes. But this year, I really do want to see how well the labs will do. Even if it knocks any of it away, it would be amazing. Because I mean, these
Mm-hmm.
things are just prone to it. It's every year at the same time, so I can pretty well track it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've gotten really really good at a lot of guys criticize before, but I cut a lot of plant off during the season. The stuff that I know at the end I'm gonna be like, what am I doing with this anyways? It basically I build a canopy. They look like giant plants, but if you go into the middle of them, there's nothing at all until you get to like the last 3 or 4 nodes on each branch, and then the whole thing back down to the plant is empty. Because that's how I learned my lesson was like, oh, you got to keep it all. The plant needs it all. Well, yeah, if you got a nice, perfect growing environment on top of a hill in the middle of freaking Afghanistan, well, yeah, don't trim it. Well, I'm not. I'm in residential Ontario where there's fucking shit everywhere. So,
yeah, the end of my growing season still fucking 70% humidity.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we got fucking issues.
I think too. It's my I've been here 8 years now, so I have some tree growth around my property. I have a crabapple tree. I think that's what it's called, and a birch tree is. Yeah, it's in my yard. The birch tree is. My neighbor's got a couple trees. My other neighbor's got a couple trees, right? And they've all matured over the last 8 years, and kind of changed the growing environment in my backyard. It's not as desert like as it was when I first moved in. It would get the sun and just bake all day. It does a bit, but the trees have definitely changed that for me. And that's probably an issue there. Lack of airflow. A lot of air moving around my area, but not 20 feet down underneath the trees and stuff down in my yard. So.
Right. Yeah, I do have to say that is one thing I love about my property is it's most of the time throughout our season. It's just a real nice gentle breeze comes right through we have enough hills, trees, and everything. It just kind of funnels right through. It's nice, light. When we have big, heavy storms, it's usually not too bad. You know, Everywhere around. I mean, you can see everything going like hell, but usually it's
Mm,
not terrible where I'm at. So I'm real blessed to have that situation, that the air movement is very good around here. So
Yeah, at one point I had a fan outside just laying on the ground. Blowing
yeah,
straight into the
just fucking
canopy.
put a box fan under the plant and just let her roll through the middle.
That was it. It was pretty awesome. You'd see the leaves sitting like at the outside of the buds. It's the $20 Walmart one. Oh well, if it's shorted out, whatever. I don't suggest that. Don't be messing with electricity, people. Follow your local guidelines.
Now just figure out how to mount it on some sort of track system so it moves back and forth across all your plants and the lines.
But yeah, no, we'll definitely bump it up because I've bored myself a little bit too with just doing simple dry amendments, and like I'm always find myself standing in the garden looking at the plants wanting to do something, but just I've been the moron before, putting more on and more on. No, I'm not about to just willy-nilly start throwing shit on the plant. So I'm gonna do some learning, a little bit of it here tonight, and we'll do what we can without fucking it up too bad, I guess.
That's always kind of the good part of the approach is it's effective, but not too effective usually. You can fry your plants, but you really got to like try hard to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the benefit you can see from very little effort is apparent.
When you get an amendment that takes plants that are just normal, and then all of a sudden just for days they're just sitting like this, you're like, okay, that was what they like. They like that.
Right.
So I got some plants right now. Everything's doing fine, but some of them are they're just alive, and they're not like, oh my god. But you can tell some of them that are just in that perfect zone, man. They're praying every day. No weird leaves, nothing. It's nice.
Yeah, I did that Hawaiian of mine outdoors this year, and I put it out there as like it had already pretty much root bound a little 5-gallon fabric pot. By June, there was no nutrition anywhere in this pot, and all it got was the JLF from the bucket this year. And while I didn't have a great time off of it, I knew I wasn't going to. I was experimenting to see how far you could push in. It's if I was using my normal techniques, it would have been a great boost, but this was basically to the point where I was just dumping nutrition on top of roots, and this is what they took up. So, I think it says a lot to, how well it works, because it was a 7, like one of those like half tall garbage cans. It's maybe like 20 gallons of water or something would fit in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was. It was the beginning of the year when I went out and I trimmed down my ditch. I took all the fast growing, good greens, all that stuff that was really booming. I just took an armload of it, threw it in that bucket, and covered it in rainwater, and that's it, man. That's I didn't add to it throughout the year. It's I took it so lazy and did not, do any of that good stuff, and it still worked like a dream, comparatively to what I was dealing with. So yeah, this year I'm definitely, I'm gonna go back to doing it properly. Got to keep feeding the bucket a little bit when you can, and
So, like, say for instance, I was just to like get a 5-gallon bucket and put my defoliated leaves in there.
Perfect.
And cover that with rainwater, you said?
Yeah.
And then what, like 3 weeks later?
Just let it sit. The longer it sits, the better it gets.
So usable after any time, really. But just like
Yeah. Once you can start to smell it, you have something that's starting to work. And that's pretty fucking quick. That's usually a couple days in. Um, it's like I said, it's not great. Then you still have a lot of breakdown happening with everything that's happening, and typically, that's not something you want to dump in your soil because too many reactions are already happening. That's when you can have root issues, things like that. But you let it sit around for a little bit. Let it get established, let it kind of work itself off so it's not working so hard. And that's when it starts to really get good. It's literally, just time. Time makes it better.
I got a 5-gallon bucket in my garage that in about starting last August, I started putting all my defoliation into. All my outdoor went into it. Anything that I cut down has gone in that bucket since. The bucket's still only half full. It's about a quarter full water, half full of solids. But I just keep putting in, and it just keeps, the level keeps going down. It just keeps breaking up. And that's the most beautiful green colored crap I ever seen in my life.
How's she smell?
It doesn't smell too bad, but I don't leave the cover off forever. I just take the cover off when I'm adding. So it's working well in there. But it's just working away.
It's beautiful, when you take an armful, when you fill up a 5-gallon bucket and you go back, 3 weeks later and it's half full and you're like, oh, okay. So, you a lot of times you don't think you're going to be able to keep up with, filling that bucket. And that's not the case. It works fast.
Yeah. At one point I used to be able to push it down and it would be solid and I wouldn't see any liquid. Now, if I do push it down, everything will get submerged in liquid. It's making its own liquid. I put a little bit of water in it first when I started it all, but it's basically making its own liquid, by juicing itself and breaking down. And I even threw my leftover material from making bubble hash in there.
Yeah, no reason not to. It's still got a little usable life in there for the soil anyway.
Yeah, I just harvested trichomes.
Right. You got all the good shit off of it. You can give the rest of it back to the soil again.
And then they can give it back to me.
There you go. Make the circle complete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my mom just teases me. She's like, "It's so funny. I was a little worried, when you were younger, what was going to happen. Now I come over and you're tending garden." I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I'll be all right. I'm in the soil now, Mom.
See, I'm gonna have fun with ferments, and hopefully my neighbor lady. That's like, I did a ferment experiment where I made some Devil's Club FPJ, and then I wanted to see what happened if I just filled it up with water after that, which is vinegar, and you take past that, and it smells like horrible and wonderful. One of my things is, I fucking hate the smell of cigarette smoke. We all have pet peeves and stuff like that. And to me, cigarette smoke is one of the fucking worst. And we're not supposed to be smoking in our buildings here. Fair enough. But it is what it is. I consider cannabis to be a completely different story. So I'm above that rule I talk about. But anyways, in the summer, anytime you got the sliding door here open, the fucking window upstairs going to the bedrooms open or whatever, you smell fucking cigarette smoke wafting in. Like, it's the point where my fucking kids, and it's hot upstairs, top floor of any building in the summer, right? And they can't have their windows open at night for a while until later at night once she goes to sleep because it smells like fucking cigarettes, stuff like that. So here's my thing. I was all respectful and shit like that last year when that bucket really started to stink like fucking hell. I moved it like over that way as far as I could. I'm not doing that this year. Fucking leave it right on the side of that, beside that partition fence. And it's like she starts bitching about fucking smells. Be like, you know what? You are literally fucking up the smell of my house, the inside of my house. This is just, your backyard smells like plant food. So shut up.
For a minute, when I fuck with the bucket.
It might be more than one bucket just to make a point.
Well, yeah. I mean, to rotate them daily. That way you make sure that you're constantly having to stank up the area. And you got to have plenty. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and the other thing is fucking having a listener scream at her fucking kid. Like sometimes you wonder, it's like, should I like we call child services? Like I don't think she's beating her kid or anything like that. But the sheer yelling, there's times where we've been doing podcasts saying like the wall that separates us is 8 inches from the back of these monitors in front of me. And there's times I'm surprised you guys can't hear her fucking screaming at her fucking kid. Where I'm just like, I'll be just sitting here and let's like hit the fucking mute button because it's like fucking wow. Like, so that's another thing. She fucking sucks. Nobody's perfect, but she's like,
this is a thing, right? Rusty Nails is saying Jadam's not indoors, and I think when I first met all you guys, right, that was kind of the joke. Is I used to make my buckets downstairs. My wife said, absolutely fucking not. Jadam works fine indoors. You just don't make your buckets and leave them indoors. You mix up your stuff and you bring it indoors after you've mixed it. It's nowhere near as bad, then. And, if you're trying to use rainwater and stuff anyway. So, a lot of that stuff, you're already going outside. So, when your bucket's outside, you mix it with your rainwater, bring her in, you're all good. It's nowhere near as bad that way. That smell doesn't transfer.
I'm gonna get to try the Jadoms this summer. I'm excited about gardening at my in-laws' place. It's not just the cannabis stuff too. We'll be putting a whole bunch of shit out there. They got a nice big yard where you can go and fuck around on the garden weekends and stuff like that. So it'll be fun. We'll just look for whatever plant material they have kicking around and just start throwing it in fucking buckets. Get my father-in-law to hang out by it because he's the guy that'll fucking spill that shit and make a god awful mess all over the place. He's awesome, but he's accident prone, to put it politely. Great fucking guy, but good God. You wonder how so many people get through life. Oh, here he is, right here. Hey man, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh yeah.
Nice. What's up, everybody?
What's good?
Good evening.
Turn it that way, right? I think it's
There
what
you
you
go.
told me last time.
Oh shit, he's got the camera flipping everything. Look at the man.
Yeah, I got you out.
They say us stoners can't remember shit. Look at him. Look at him.
I can't. They got that right.
Yeah, then we get Prophet, who's a regular on here, like just about every show, and he can't remember how to do that. So it's
Need that grow out behind me here. Got that grow light right behind me.
See, Rusty Nails, that's an interesting thing because my labs smell like dirt when I bring them inside. They smell like my castings, and I think labs smell gross, but I love to use them. So, you know what? You use a lot of your JLF. I know, you pretty much grow out in your shed, right?
Yep.
Do you have any problems with your JLF stinking up your pots and stuff?
Well, yeah, when I pour it in, they stink for sure. But after I've kind of test this out. This summer I grew all JLF, and this is my first indoor run to grow all JLF. I'm at the middle of week 7, so I'm almost done with that experience of inside and outside. But after, I don't know, an hour or so, the smell really dies down. And if I can keep the JLF in the pots and not in the drip tray, it's even better. When it runs through and sits in the drip tray, it needs to soak back up for a good hour, hour and a half, whatever it takes.
Yeah, then you always end up with that like awesome slime on the bottom because it sat there and that stuff doesn't come back up. It likes to leave that down there. But I've always noticed the same, every time I've done it, and I always use it pretty light indoors. If I'm bringing in 5 gallons worth of, water, I'm only using a cup of JLF in it, so there ain't a whole lot of smell that's even really getting transferred. But like you say, I usually notice within 15 minutes, it just smells like soil, nice, wet soil. So,
yeah, I've got to where I don't care about JLF anymore. I'm like smelling my fingers now and weird stuff like that. It's gotten bad.
I don't think I could ever get on that level.
Yeah, it's stinky, but it's fun. It's cheap. It's good. There's gonna be an event in Oklahoma City. They're in the pre-planning of it. There's gonna be a little event in Oklahoma City in May, and I'm gonna be doing some teaching on JLF and how to transition to it and things like that, what to expect and all that. So it'll be fun.
That's fucking cool, man. Yeah, one of the latest videos I've seen you doing on Instagram, you've been chipping a bunch of pine cones and stuff to start making your IMOs down the road. And that's another one of those ones where I kind of look around and obviously not looking outside the box at source materials that what can I use for making my IMOs? That one never occurred to me, but pine cones are a lot smaller up in my neck of the woods. They don't get big.
Oh, really?
So you'd be sitting there all fucking day trying to fill up the box with a truck like you had going on there. But like, dude, that's brilliant. How's that working out? Have you tried that one before, or is this like an inaugural test run of doing that?
The pine cone or the JLF?
The pine cones for your IMOs.
This is the first time. There were so many pine cones just everywhere. When I was driving, I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I got my two twin boys. They're 7 years old. And it's just fun for them. I'm like, let's see how many we can get in 2 minutes, something like that. If we get over 1,000, we're going to Brahms, something like that. It's like cheap labor. But yeah, there were so many. I was like, I want to make use of what's in the environment and, give it a shot. I know it's going to make great mulch, just get good, thick, fibrous layers of stuff. But I will add some to the IMO 3s just to be able to do it, just to get it in there and see what it does. Winter times, that's what I do during the winter time. I'm constantly out in the woods. I like that to begin with, but then man, look for hickory nuts, acorns, them big old bur oak acorns are like that big, compared to little bitty acorns, little bitty size. But looking, always pulling back stuff beneath trees and seeing if termites have chowed up some good woody material. No, that's just great material to take too. But yeah, getting out in the woods during this time, because there's no snakes. In Oklahoma, you got rattlesnake, you got copperheads, cottonmouth, all these things are going to be laying on that wood, because there's bugs and junk and the rats and all the little animals are there. But in the summertime, I'd already got bit. So in the wintertime is the only time I can really do it in Oklahoma.
Real easy finding the good dead shit when everything's dead. You know what I mean? It's like I know you had that video posted where you found that beautiful log that was just you just grabbed a handful and squished it.
It was
right?
amazing.
I was like, oh,
it was amazing. It shredded down. It was just like Italian ice or summer shredded ice when you get the snow cone stuff. And then you see the video how it's pouring out and it just mounds up like that. The bigger stuff was shredding and blasting. It was just hitting and pulling up into a cone. It was so cool. So yeah. What I'll do is I got to go back out and we'll get some more of that. But then I'm almost done. I've got enough material for a lot of IMO. I'm going to go back out to those spots and take a bunch of JLF, in gallons and just dump it. Get back to the nature and say, come on, let's do it again. So I'll video that too.
That was an interesting one that I was hoping we get into. Being the winter season, I've always kind of at the end of the season, I always dump my bucket, right? I just kind of let it go into the garden. When the new season rolled over, started a new bucket up, But this year was the first year that I'm letting it roll, letting it freeze, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add to it in the spring just to see how potent this stuff is throughout, next year or, what I lost, what I gained, all those fun things. So what are you doing with yours on the usually?
In the winter time?
Yeah.
Mine just sits there, dude. You know what I didn't do in one of my buckets is you've got to get it 6 inches of the water from the top. Because mine did freeze this year. We had 2 weeks that we were below freezing every single day, so it definitely froze up. But one of them, man, it pushed all the way up. That ice froze, right, and started squeezing. And I walk outside, and the lid is just curved. It's dull. It's plastic, but it's just toned out, and it's spewing out the side, pss, 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 like that. It's just wanting to explode. And I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. And so I go over there and I start kind of cracking the lid, and it's just whoosh, spraying everywhere, dude. It was awful. So yeah, if it freezes and it starts to push that lid up, you've had it, because that bucket's going to explode, or you got to do something about it. It got all over me.
That's
So
that's
yeah,
why mine is in
take the
a
water out.
that's
Sorry, go
why
ahead.
mine's in a trash can with just a press top lid. Because when shit like that happens, just pop the lid right off. No worries.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get some of them screw top buckets like you've got. I just, I've never found any at a decent price, and I can't find any,
Yep.
Alongside the road. So
Yeah, I found that one in a dumpster, and then the big blue ones, I had a friend just bring them by. He's
yeah,
like, I thought you could use these.
I had one guy offer up some, but he's like, all you got to do is wash the chemicals out. Yeah, never mind, man. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
that's the problem. Yeah, these had a bunch of molasses. They're from horse barns, horse feed places. You got big barrels of molasses and things like that. So it's actually a good thing with these.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be the best fucking thing to have in them.
Yeah, that this farm that I'm helping, it's called Kennedy Natural Farming. He's got hundreds of black buckets that had molasses in it, and that's what we've been using to make all kinds of stuff, man. And last summer when it was hot, those things would in 12 hours they're just going like crazy. So those are always good to get, them old molasses buckets. Those are all feed stores. That's Oklahoma stuff, though. That's cowboy junk, farmers and all that stuff. It's so when you can go to a feed store, a farm store, it's pure carbohydrate and sugars because it's just food for animals. That stuff is always good to use for organic growing.
Huge fan of going to the feed store for goodies. You get like repackaged kelp meal, Epsom salts, all sorts of shit out there. Alfalfa pellets, that's one that I like to grab up. And another one that I saw last time I was there, I didn't grab, but I thought about it. They had beet pellets.
Yeah.
Compressed beet. And I was like, that's got to have some kind of benefit. And I was like, I can't think of it right now. And I'll look into this and I'll come back. Usually I'd grab that right away and start throwing it in my teas. But
yeah, dude. I picked up a chunk of Himalayan sea salt.
ooh.
Just kind of knock a little bit off and grind it. So it was like $6 for that big chunk.
You're just gonna
It's
get a
cheap.
little scrapey scrape every once in a while.
Yeah,
right,
a little file off in the bucket. Yeah.
Yeah, you need what are them little like micro planer, little bougie micro planer.
Yeah. Little nutmeg grinder.
Yeah, there you go. Nah, that's good. How much testing have you gotten through with the Bo coffee that you're making right now? Is that stuff
So
working?
I actually just yesterday, or what is it, like Tuesday? No, Sunday. I was on Sunday. I just put some in the compost. It just got dry. Like I've been drying for about 7, maybe 8 days. It's been just kind of cool here. It hasn't had good warm conditions. So I had to bring it inside my shed and put some fans on it. But I just put it down 2 days ago. I looked this morning, and on some tomatoes, there's a little bit of either bacteria or hyphae, I can't tell. But give it, 4 or 5 days, and I'll be able to see if some activity is going on. The temperatures here are warm enough for it to do something. It was like up in 68 today. That's plenty warm enough for activity. But yeah, that was coffee grounds I got from Starbucks and dried them out real good, and then I fermented them bokashi style, which is equal parts labs and molasses. Add some water to that and mix it all up to where it's kind of moist, not wet, but moist, and you let that set. Anaerobically, it's got to be wrapped up in plastic and sealed, but it ferments anaerobically for about 2 weeks. And then you got to get it out, let it dry. If you don't let it dry, the microbes will actually start to take over, and you'll see white and everything. But you dry it out, then you can store it, and you can use it for later. So that's how I had to let it dry out.
That's really cool. It's another one of those things that I never would have thought to use, but like in this house, like we go through coffee a fair bit. That is one of the few things that other than maybe water that was guaranteed to go through and consumed every day around here. there's a byproduct like that, fucking use it. It's really interesting, really cool. And once again, labs and molasses, that's other stuff that gets found and done around here somewhat regular too. Although I did the last batch of labs I tried, I did fuck it up, and but the old lady went into the bathroom in the downstairs bathrooms where it's like my laboratory where I get to do ferments and other gross shit. She walked in there one day and immediately fucking came out and was like, "You've got something going on in there. You better fucking deal with that." Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
I got a jar of jacked up labs right now. I didn't filter it well, and it started getting funky.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were talking about it, and see if we can get this to fucking show up. My rice water just started really getting fucking active. If you can see
Nice.
what's
Yeah, I
going
see
on.
it.
Yeah, so I'm just like, and this is a nice hefty fucking jar. Oh, look now.
Whoa, that's a big jar. I didn't
Yeah,
see
oh
it
yeah.
that big.
Yeah, we gonna fuck around and make some labs, right? We gonna
You
make
want labs?
Right. That's the only thing I can think of is when he's like, "Yeah, I made a batch of labs and they went bad," and I'm like, "Fuck."
That's a lot.
That's a lot to go bad.
Oh, I usually make labs about once a month ish, maybe once every 2 months. No.
You ripping one up, may as well get in on the action too.
Let's do it.
Times.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I think I was just telling them I pretty well overuse my labs, so I make a lot when I make them. And then I try to make them shelf stable. I don't keep them in the fridge, so I'll do I'll add the sugar and stuff to them to make them shelf stable so they can stick around for a long time.
Yep. Labs are strong. I usually make about a quart at a time, about quart to 2 quarts at a time. Now that's like with the cheese and the settlements, I'm only getting like, half a quart or whatever. So I go through it fairly fast. I don't like making a lot because I mess it up. I messed up the whole thing. So I just like to make a little bit at a time.
Well, it takes, in reality, I mean, it takes so little product to make it. The only thing, if I had a good plug for some, fresh milk, where I was paying less for it, that would be ideal. But, rice and water, and it takes very little of that to make a lot of fucking labs,
You're right.
So.
How long do you let that rice wash sit? How long do you like to usually let it sit?
To me, it's not a time thing. I look at the cap and the activity on the top, and once I see it really start blooming like that just started maybe like 2 hours ago, literally.
No,
like 2
really?
hours ago, it was
You
not
woke up,
bloomed
huh?
up like that. Yeah, I came in, I kind of gave it a little shake, and that
Yeah.
shit bloomed up. So in the morning, I'll add the fucking milk to it, and then I'll wait until the cheese is, it doesn't look spongy, it looks nice and tight, and that's when I'll call it, and I'll add the this time I'm probably going to add molasses to it. So
do you take a siphon of some kind and get down in there, or do you try to pour it out and separate stuff and filter it out?
Yeah, I'll pour it out and separate it. I got one of them like weird coffee like things that's got it's a weird like glass globe on the bottom, and it's got like a funnel on top, and it's got the strainer that sits in it. So I'll dump it through that, and then that'll have a filter on it, and that'll catch all my cheese. So and I'll probably change out the filter right after I grab the first bit of cheese, and then I'll set it in a bowl and kind of let it drain out super slow while the rest of the labs are getting filtered out.
What, do you eat the cheese? Does anybody eat the cheese?
No, I went to give it to my cat, and he looked at me like, "What in the fuck is wrong with you?"
I tried feeding it to my fish when I was running aquaponics, and I think they kind of swam to the bottom of the tank and didn't go anywhere near it.
I think the possums like it. Yeah, my cat was like, "Fuck you," so I threw it out in the yard, and that shit was licked clean the next day. So
I bet.
Something liked it in the evening.
There was a dinner bell going on.
Yeah, I was gonna try it, and I read and saw and listened to a lot of people talk about how it ain't that bad, and it's really kind of nice once it's. And I was like, no, it ain't. It smells like fucking rotten ass milk. That's what it fucking smells.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
can't
might
get
keep you
past that.
alive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might keep you alive, kind of with the soldier food and all. I've made actual, cheese where it sits for months and all that fun stuff, and it's good. This is not good. Lab's cheese is nasty. That's all there's to it. But everybody talks about eating it, but I don't bet anybody's eating it yet. I mean, people taste it, but they're not like, yeah, I saved that stuff. No, they throw it away.
Dude, I've fucked up batches of labs before, and all I can say is after that experiment, I ain't putting that shit in my mouth. I don't care if it's good, bad, or anything. Fuck that.
Yeah,
Anything
dude.
that can turn to that, no.
Yeah, it's a rough smell.
Yeah, and it don't go away anytime soon. Just fucking showing off your grow to a buddy that you're all proud of it. Fucking open up your shed door, and it just like waft comes out like a smack in the face. And then you got to pretend like that's fucking normal. You can't smell any of the fucking plants in the bud room, right? Okay, 4 lights worth of fucking blooming plants. You can't smell any of them, but fuck, does it ever stink in there? Well, that's normal.
yeah.
Are any of y'all breeding? Do any of y'all breed anything? Or any of y'all breeding stuff? Or do y'all throw pollen around or anything?
I haven't touched anything up since probably midsummer though. I've got a few things running right now that I'm really interested in playing with. See what comes up with them in the pheno hunting. How about yourself? You got anything you've done lately?
Well, hold on now. What are you pheno hunting? You can't just pull it. You can't just pull the panties down that much. Let's go all the way. What are we pheno hunting?
All right, so our brother Mobius, he did up some strawberry glue by Pinky Promise, and those made their way around up there to here to us. Or I believe it was him that did it.
Adam bred it. It was Mobius's male that he used. That Granddaddy Purple backcross male that he used.
Okay.
Or the strawberry glue, one of them. Anyway, I think the genetics came, but Adam threw the pollen.
Okay, well, yeah, no disrespect to Adam. We know we got nothing but love for that dude. I knew Mobius was in there somehow.
Yeah.
But so I've got 6 of those that I just cut clones off of like right before the show today. And we'll flip those within the next week or so. We're gonna start seeing. I'm pretty sure there's 2 males in there. That I've already picked out already. 2 nice big tall fuckers. I like the look of them. But I'm more interested in the short, squatty fuckers that I have in there. They're the interesting ones to me. So we'll see about those. And then I've got some, what are they? Catahoula from Skunk VA's Lucky Dog. So I'm going for some Campheno hunting right now. That's what I'm looking for in those ones. And that's Triangle Kush by Chem91 BX3, I believe. BX2 or BX3. And so we've got those. We've got a few of my things there, which is, I'm calling it Grapple North. It's Grapple Fritter, which is by Rosinman82, Adam there, and Saka Souffle. So let's see what's going on in that. Really interested. And some Dalton's Pond of mine, some F3s, just a few that we're not looking to bring those forward to F4. I'm just looking for a good keeper out of there, so that I have some solid females that when I do find the males that I want to touch up with, ladies up with, that got my solid stock there.
Nice.
I just got rid of everything I had in bloom. I got hit bad with thrips to the point where I had shit in all stages of bloom just about. And it's like, can I keep chasing this where I'm not going to be able to get rid of them? They're always going to be there and they're going to break out worse. So I just fucking finally just... everything in bloom, okay, we'll just suck it up, go get rid of it now. So everything is starting fresh. It's exciting.
That's what a man does right there. If you got to cut that flower down, you got to cut it down. It's tough. That's what a man does. Because
around though, right? What do? You think you got them, you think you might got them, and then they come back, and then you think you might got them, and then they come back, and it's like, you know what? I took the stuff that I was really cared about that was in veg, and just stripped them, sprayed the shit out of them. I'm still spraying the shit out of them just to make sure everything's gone. And but we're getting better. Oh, I got some apple fritter by Root Beer Freeze crosses on the go too. Those could be really interesting.
Yeah, you got some going on then for sure.
Yeah.
Got some action going. I'm in week 7.5 right now. Friday will start week 8. But these crosses are gonna be fire. These are based off of Very Cherry from Humboldt County, and then My Bluetooth, which is a blueberry cross I did last year, and then we pheno hunted it, and she is peaches and blueberry. That's what this stuff is right here. I don't know if you can see anything, but
second here.
let's see it. It's nice, dude. It's peaches and blueberries, strawberries. It's so good. But that is Bluetooth, and Bluetooth. I've used a male Bluetooth. I used a male Very Cherry, and then I revert. Well, here it is right here. I reversed here. Let me cut it off. I'm done with it. Let's say that is a reversed male Very Cherry, right? So as a female, spray it down with some sprays, and it put on pollen sacs. And this plant, let's see right behind me. Oh, here, let's look at the grow. Actually, I think we can do that. That plant right there. So that was a Very Cherry female that got crossed, got all kinds of pollen sacs all over it. It's everywhere. But anyway, if you can see it here, that plant was sitting in the middle of all this. You see it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
It was just sitting in the middle of everything. So what I did was I pollinated with the males first, and then 2 weeks later I introduced the female into here. And so all the branches that are pollinated by the males have been marked first, right? And so all the branches that aren't marked will have female seeds. That's the idea anyway. Yes, there could be some cross-pollination because that's just how I do it. Let me walk over here and show you the other side, though. I'll show you a Bluetooth, actually. Here's a Bluetooth. This girl right here. Oh, God, I'll show you. Can I switch my camera? Let me see if I can switch it. It'll be a whole lot dang easier. Nope. Anywho.
Oh.
A big old Bluetooth, dude. She got big fat buds. See how she hardly has that leaf to bract ratio? It's really, really nice. God, show it. But anyway, there's that. This is a Very Cherry. This is the fruitiest plant I've ever grown. The fruit terps are blasting off of this thing. And this is let's see, Blueberry Mac Muffin. And there's a couple chimeras in the back. The chimeras are crazy tall, dude. They doubled in size whenever we went to flower. They're huge. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. And I've got cuts of multiple Bluetooths that we're hunting right now out at a place called Legends Cannabis Company, and it's about 20 minutes from my house in another town. And it's a grow that I kind of went out and helped get started. They didn't really know what they were doing about 3 years ago, and I went out there for 2 months, and we worked, and they're doing good. They're doing well enough that they're actually starting to do their own breeding now because they understand that they can make their own seeds, their own stuff, and go at it. But I've got Bluetooth and Very Cherry crosses, and I crossed Chimera 2 across, let's see, oh gosh, now I'm going blank. Let's see, Blueberry Mac Muffin, Blueberry War Child, Bluetooths. I did what's called a Gun Bunny, which is a THC to THCV, a 1-to-1 plant. Then we've got Apple Fritter. We got Cap's Passion Pit. And I've got a, what's another? Oh, Dante's Inferno. What else we got? Fried apples. All these yummy fruity ones are getting crossed with this Bluetooth and Very Cherry, and then we're going to go hunting it. We're going to go hunting all these different things. So I'm excited. These buds are completely full of seeds. They're just loaded, which that's what I want. I want a lot of seeds.
Fuck yeah. Good times.
But my hands are fruity from touching those plants. Fruity fingers. Yummy. So I'm excited, dude. I got like another week to go.
Yeah,
Nice.
There's nothing like that time where
It's exciting
You just
until you
brush
gotta
the
fucking
plants.
harvest all those seeds.
Hell, I know. It's gonna be work.
So, do you ever fuck with seed sorters or any of those kind of things?
I've never used one. Sorry, just a second. Never used one. I always use like I'll put them in a big round bowl, a deep bowl, and I'll take a little spray thing and just keep hitting it, and the shaft just keeps flying out, and the seeds stay down there. But those seed sorters are expensive, man. People are proud of them. The ones that I've seen, like you could buy, I can't afford those.
Do it yourself or like you though? Man, I thought you'd have one made already.
No, I know. I should. I could make something, but it's just kind of easy spraying in that bowl. I'm like, heck, this works.
Yeah,
just
right.
Stay with it.
Something that easy.
Our pal Sniff here, he built a couple of seed separators there, and
did you really?
It makes separating the seeds actually kind of fun. I dare say that, and I'm sure once I put more hours in on it, I'll have a different story to tell. But when you get this new contraption, because I'm one of those, I've been trying to figure out how to breed and grow in small quarters. So I've tried breeding in solo cups, 1 gallons. With the smaller the container, the worse my results get. So I'll end up with a plant that'll die early, but I know there's viable seeds in there. I just don't know how many, and I don't really care to go sorting through them at the moment, kind of thing, right? So I'll just throw it in a fucking bag, label whatever is in there. And I had that scenario happen with my Dalton's pond when I was making F3s. It was, I can't remember what the scenario was. Maybe I went out camping or something like that, and just the plant died over the weekend, whatever it was. It's like, oh, fuck. And when he gave me, or when the seed separator actually got here, I didn't have anything to play with it with, right? And you're just like, oh, fuck, I got to play with this new toy. And you're going, and I found this bag full of seeds. And that's a project I was so amped up and excited about. And then that plant died. The plants, because they had 2 phenos that were really close that I was wanting to keep. And I was just like, oh, you're just gutted, don't want much to do with it. But then I sorted those, and you're looking and like, oh, there's actually quite a few more viable seeds in there than I thought. It just wasn't the 1 or 2 out of 500 that'll be good. There's actually a good count in there. So he actually kind of saved that project. That's the Violator or the Dalton's Pond F3s I mentioned when you were asking about what I got going on. Those are some of those. So it's like, it's a fun toy to play with and saved my project. Great guy. Thank you, Jeff.
So check this out.
Thanks, Caribou.
I had a little collab we were doing, and so I take a plant that I really like out to another town, not too far, about 40 minutes away from me. I take a plant out to a guy. He said he'll reverse it for me. It's a female plant, so I get the plant from a grow, the cut that I wanted. I take it out to a guy. He spends, about 5 weeks reversing it. He's got to go in, and when you reverse these females, they don't pollinate like a male. They put off a few bits of pollen per pollen sac. So often you got to go in and use like I've been using these right here. Let's see, these little tweezers, magnifying glass, and you got to go in and pick individual pollen sacs off, put it on some kind of strainer, and get it to shake a little bit and get the pollen to fall to a lower level. It's a ton of work. Anyway, this guy, he reversed the plant, and he did all that work and got me the pollen off of it. And it was a good half thimbleful of pollen, which is a lot for a reverse plant. I take it back to the other town where the grow is. We pollinate those plants. They sat there for about 6 weeks, and they got pollinated in week 3. And I was like, we got to let them go further than 8 weeks. Let's just let them go to the dead. Anyway, everything is looking good. They're S1s. That's what they were. I was reversing a plant that I was wanting to keep the genetics of. And I go back. It's like 4 weeks after we pollinated, and I go back out there, and I'm looking for those plants. And long story short, some dude had cut them down. They were off to the side in this grow room, and they should have been messed with, but we should have done better in not putting them there. But he just took them and cut them because they were in this flower room. He's like, well, everything's coming down. And man, lost all that work. That is like 8 months of work, 3 people involved, and it all happened because a dude just cut a plant. Chop, 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 and it's over. So yeah, that was a good one to get over. I just like kind of smiled and said, "Well, we start again, boys. Easy."
I had one about a year ago that I was really excited. It was my Cariboo Cookies Cross, which is the Saka Souffle by Grape Diamonds. Pretty high hopes for that one. And there's another cross in there. I think it was the Hawaiian Snow that I was really excited to, play with some Paula and had some beans out, see what's there, do a pheno hunt yourself. And then I threw them both in the same fucking bag, just absent-mindedly after I'd sorted them. And I was just fucking, oh yeah, this bag. And I thought I knew what I was doing. And then almost as soon as you finish doing it, you're just like, did I just? Yeah. I was like, oh, that one was hard to get over. That one fucking gutted me pretty good too. So
yeah, dude, because you don't know anything until you've grown it totally out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the
grow 'em all
bonus
out.
side of that one though is that it gave me a shit ton of seeds for throwing around out in the wild. It sucks. That's one of the things I just love doing when I go out for hikes. Always bring at least a couple vials of seeds.
Dude,
So,
I agree. If we ever go out by rivers and stuff, I'll get a handful of my old homegrown seeds and just throw them out there, see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is already my stockpile for the coming summer season. There's my random seed jar right here. That's just, if I don't know what it is, I can't identify where it came, or maybe I can, and I'm just done sorting that fucking particular set of seeds. Well, they'll all go in there. It's like I don't care. I don't sweep seeds up off the floor. I'll pick them up if I see them. Again, they'll go in the random seed jar.
Yeah. Yeah. Floor score. What that is, a jar of floor score.
Yeah, my favorite thing is now the girlfriend starts to spot them sitting on the ground from across the room now too, because apparently they hurt the feet when you step on them. I've not noticed.
Really?
Myself, but yeah, she's mentioned that. Digging.
You got some big seeds.
I got
some big pointy seeds.
I go two routes with mine. If it's a good seed, it stays. But if it's like a herm and I knew it, a motherfucker gets turned into a seed sprout tea and gets fed back to the plants and ground up. Because I'm not going to throw herms out there and just let the fucking world get pollinated. Because how many times has your outdoor been pollinated and you're like, well, this could be really cool, or most likely it's fucking some bullshit. So
yeah,
that's
a good idea. Seed sprout tea with them.
Yep. Yeah, that's where herms go, to seed sprout tea. So
the only herm I ever had, and not because of a messed up light cycle or something like that, but like somebody's genetics herm were autos, and they were the only autos I've ever grown, and they had balls and pistils all over the place. So that was that's you growing other people's genetics. You have no idea what you're getting. And we just did a trade, and I was like, yeah, I'll grow some autos, see what happens. But I don't enjoy autos, but that's not a good shot for me to judge autos on either. I mean, I have to try again, give me some good ones.
Yeah,
I've got some Hype's gear.
Who is it?
Hypathetical Genetics. He's one of our sponsors. Great dude. Okay. His gear is solid.
All right, Hypathetical Genetics.
Yeah, cool. We'll have to see about getting you some just to test out and have some fun.
Yeah, heck yeah. Wonder why I called it hypothetical.
Well, I have to ask him. I think we asked him once. It's been a long time.
That's an interesting name for a genetics.
He's an interesting feller. So.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's an interesting cat, man. So he's into a lot of cool shit. So I'll guarantee you it's well thought out.
Yeah, good.
No,
I just got a couple of those too, so I'm interested. So I was under the same thing. I tried an auto here and there, and I never got any hermed autos, but they were just buds on sticks.
Yeah, they're nothing.
Yeah, I grow a photo period 9 feet tall. I'm like, well, there we go. Better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the first year that I grew autos that were not feminized, so they weren't, like fem autos. Every single one of those hermed, even the males hermed. It was fun. You could tell it started out as a male and then all of a sudden started growing fucking pistols. Every single one of the motherfuckers, not a single thing did not herm. It was terrible genetics, but that's the only one of the only other autos that I've grown other than Hypes, but I've never found a reason to stray from his. So fucking. Also, he does a lot of like one-to-one work, and I'm all about the one-to-one medicinal aspect of the flowers and stuff, and his one-to-one work is fantastic, man. Super terpy. He's getting nice big fat buds on him. Even if you're only growing like a 1.5 foot tall plant, you're still getting 4 ounces off of it.
Nice.
It's
Yeah, I've been
decent.
told this is the answer to the auto.
To the auto problem.
Yeah, get some hype gear going.
Well,
Yeah, I had to try because I've seen autos that they're not tall but they're big buds.
Yeah.
But like Gray said, the autos I had were sticks with some fuzz on it and balls.
Hey, in testing for him, I've come across some of those also, just to stick with a bud. And I'm just like, I tell him, hey, bud, this one doesn't work. That's it, it's time to go back to the drawing board with that cross.
Yeah, I did a little thing because I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm Paul and Chucker extraordinaire. So I'm down here in my basement playing around, doing my own little thing. And I was trying to make some autos or make some fast flowering. And I got some, man, that were like, yeah, man, they were like dandelions. They'd come up and like make this little puff of a bud.
And that was it, huh?
Yeah, that was it. They go, oh, well, that didn't work. But then they're the same seed batch, I'd still getting photos, right? So it's like, it was a weird mix. Back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I ended up with one Day Neutral, another guy from here in chat. He does some breeding, and he loves his autos, and really going this. And I got a hold of some of his and was growing it out. I'm like, yeah, man, this is what I got. I was like, this plant though, it's literally like joint per auto. It was very consistent. It was a very small. Like I grew 6 of them, and every one of them was about a joint a plant, but they were all super consistent. I laughed, and he goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "If I would have known that those were the ones you were growing, I'd have told you not to bother. I knew they were junk." I'm like, "Well, fuck."
What the? Sorry, that was 4 months of my life.
Yeah, well, no, that was my fault though. I didn't tell him. I was just growing the motherfuckers, and then I was gonna document, show them everything, and then I was like, "Well, here's what I got out of it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I would have told you." It's like, "Oh shit, well next time I'm gonna let you know I'm growing it then."
I've amassed so many seeds now. I don't know where. Like, I have no guidance now to what's being popped next. Kind of like I crack open the big Tupperware container and just look in and be like,
See, yeah, exactly.
But this run, I'm actually doing the whole cloning every single plant before I go to flower. I've never really done that before. A little bit on some of the stuff I'm doing my basement breeding with. But this time I'm actually cloning every single female, or I don't even know if they're all female. I pulled 2 out that were male, but nothing's sexing themselves enough that I can really tell right now. So everything's getting flipped and the males are going to get yanked out. But yeah, I've cloned everything and now we're going to flip them. So I'm doing a lot of
That's fun. That's fun because you can have it again. You can have that flower again if you liked it. And that's the one cool thing about that. It's a lot of work though. It's like now that cycle has to perpetuate itself. There's, it has to keep going if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a seed, you're just like, that's another seed. Just pop some.
Yeah, it can sit in that Tupperware for a year.
That's part of the fun though, is trying to see how small you can keep that son of a bitch before it gets really pissed off at you. That's a game, when we all have these space issues and these stupid ass plant counts that they like to try to hold us to, sometimes that's the game. So how long can I keep this around before it's too mad?
Yeah. Playing with this press, it's like you get these ones that I'm getting that are in the 20s consistently percentage of squish and flower. I'm like, I don't want to lose that. Because I go to press another one and it's 9%. I'm like, well, what the hell?
Yeah, you're like, why did I even
Still
waste
smoke's
my fucking
fine.
time on that?
Yeah, so
I would
try to amass a garden of pressers.
Those the root beer freeze crosses. There's a pheno in there that Dutch Blooms is calling, I think, the Blue Hash Queen. It's apparently supposed to be a really good washer.
Nice.
Heard him mention it a few times. That could be interesting going through there. Because yeah, it'd be. I get that from if I was you. You have this huge recovery. You can't get rid of it unless you get something that's as good or better. Because that's just
and like making hash for me is great, but like it honestly it sits in the jar more than it gets smoked, kind of. And without the freeze dryer, I can't go to the next level with hash on that side of things. So if I can just like I gotta say it again, a lot of people were hating on it, but Raiders Very Berry, I found a good pheno in there, and I was pressing it. I don't think it was much. It was maybe 18% or 15% return, which is all right. But it was blonde, and kept a floral scent to it the whole like for a week. I smoked it. Like, let's get real. I smoked it within 2 weeks or so. But it was some of the best rosin from flower I've had because it didn't hold that waxy. I don't know what it is about flower rosin, but a lot of strains will just give you kind of a flower rosiny taste, you know.
Burnt chlorophyll.
Yeah, or whatever it is you're getting out of it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, often it'll be just chlorophyll still, you know, in the plant, burning too hot, and it gives you that burnt, nasty taste. You know, one thing I learned is I used to, when I breed plants, I would save all the bud that I was getting the seeds out of and stuff. And then I went to press it one time, and it was burnt, awful mess. And every time I press flour that I've bred that had a bunch of seeds in it, I guess it's got so much seed oil on it or something, but it just makes a very burnt taste. It never works.
Might be like the hulls, I think, like the seed, like whatever it is around that inside where like the actual hard seed comes out, but there's like a paper almost, like a tissue paper kind of.
Yeah, little shapy shell looking thing.
Yeah. I found two right out of cure, right into cure, maybe 2-3 weeks into a jar. That's when I get the best press out of weed. Long storage weed gets a little darker. Anything too early is too greasy and liquidy.
Yep.
You hit that perfect zone where it still retains all the like. It's nice and it's enjoyable to dab, but low temps. Hash rosin, I find it's a little more melt, so you can take it a little hotter and enjoy it. With the
do you
flour,
like to cold? Do you cold start most of your stuff?
I cold start everything.
Yeah.
Because with the flour rosin, you go too hot, it's over. You got.
I know that's the problem. You gotta know how to do it, man. You see people burn that banger for like 30 seconds, like it's over, dude. That stuff is smoked. It's like sit 7 seconds, 10 seconds, and get off, and then 5 seconds, and then maybe just ride 3 seconds each hit, and just try to stay as low as you can, and just taste the terp. That's what I like.
That's where the waster to taster comes into play with the flour rosin, especially if you're pressing your own. Then you can.
That's a good one. I haven't heard waster or taster. That's a good one like that.
Yeah.
I like them tasters. Yeah. Let me think. The first time I pressed flour was a blueberry muffin, and that was a heck of a one to start off on pressing with. Because when I had smoked it, I was like, wow, this is delicious. This is crazy good. But when I pressed that blueberry muffin, that's when it was on for my blueberry hunting stuff. I was like, I'm going to recreate this. I'm going to make it even better, do something with it. But I love that press. I've got a, what is it? A rosin, squish, I think it's called. Something like that. Anyway, 3x5 plate. It only goes about 2,000 pounds PSI. That's all I need. I don't like a hard press, and I don't like it hot either. I just like to melt it off, and that's all I want. I just get a little bit off, and I like it because it's real terpy and yummy. Good way to do it. You can always get way more. I mean, if I needed medicine, I'd press it twice, and do it again, get as much as I could off. But when I've got lots of flour, like right now, my summer bud, there's just like sacks like this in my in my refrigerator, and they keep on coming. I got 4. I got 1 more. I just got huge bags of weed right now.
Get that press going. Let's go.
And so I just like a quick, light press, and it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
But if I didn't have much flour, I'd be smashing it a bunch.
I had a junky Amazon press, and then the local hardware store had 10-ton shop presses go on sale. I'm kind of a mechanical guy too, so I'm like, well, I might press a bearing at some point, but I'll definitely press Ross. Drag that sucker home. It's behind me. I don't know if you can see it in the dark, but no, there you go.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's press right there.
Oh, it
Yeah,
works,
if you're a
man.
shop guy, you know how to. You can make your own dang press somehow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a shop guy, but if you're a shop guy,
Sniff right here has probably one of the most beautiful homemade presses I've ever seen.
really.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it on this computer, so.
Oh, that's too
Man.
bad. Hey, go to our Discord. We'll fucking get a picture of that press out there for you.
Why is it so pretty? Is it a big press or a smaller press?
Oh, it is handmade out of I-beam.
Ivy?
I-beam.
I-beam.
Ivy. Like what?
Whoa.
Out of I-beams. Oh, so you was kind of cut torch out and welding stuff together and all this. Is that what I'm imagining, right?
Yeah, basically, I made a great big C out of I-beam, and I trapped a set of plates and a hydraulic jack in between it. And I made my own
That's
plates
awesome.
from scratch.
Yeah,
I bought
he
the
made his own
controller,
plates.
bought the heaters, and made my own plates and cobbled her all together. Made a nice set of caged plates, put it together with a jack, and I got a press that works great. So.
You probably got a little PSI meter on it and all that.
No, I didn't go that far. I cheaped out with the hydraulic jack for now. I'd like to be able to get a jack something like G-Bay has in his press for mine, but it's an upgrade. It's something to think about.
Nice. Well, that's awesome, dude. That's way to go, man. Handy dandy right there.
I'm just cheap. I don't want to buy anything.
Hey, I hear you. Way to go, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, no electrical and stuff if you're gonna get into these. I cut the wires trying to extend it and almost destroyed the whole thing. So
Oh, dude.
I'm back up and running, but it was close.
You know, he did
That's
the
tough.
fuck around and find out instead of the find around and then fuck around.
Yep.
He found around and fucked up.
Yeah. Fucked around and found out is what he did.
Read twice, cut once.
Yep.
Hey, but that's how we all learn, because that's
that's
what
what I
we're
was
here
gonna say.
online for, right?
I
To
came
show
out with a
everybody.
learning experience.
That's right.
I may be a
we-
welder and play with a lot of electricity all day long, but I'm not an electrician.
Yeah. Hey, I told you the same thing, right, man? I've dealt with all that kind of stuff my whole career, and all I knew of like how it worked and why you don't do it is because you break it. That's why. So don't do those things.
Yeah. There's a lot of little scientific things you need to understand once you get into that style of
Yeah.
well, it's electronics. So it's not just red and black.
I pay people to do that, man. I can't. I never got into. I never had. I mean, my dad was an electrician. I never got into it, So I wish I would. I have a buddy who's an electrician, and he wired my whole. He's the guy that wired my shed. Have got a breaker box in here, and I can run tons of stuff in here. But yeah, it was so good. I wish I could do that, but I can't.
I don't know much. Build you anything big and out of steel, but when it comes to running wires, small things like 12-volt systems for cars and power sport stuff, I can do that, no problem. But house, yeah, I'll probably burn your house down.
Hey, so when you
As I sit in my grown room, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, you were talking earlier about your, your breeding and stuff. If I can ask, what do you look for when you're breeding, currently? So, I was through my run, I found a good medicine for me, and I'm trying to, just recreate it in an F2 generation. And then the plants I threw in, I'm trying to add some gas to, but I generally have a structure that is just, I'm looking for structures of the plant, and then obviously the medicinal quality of everything. So what are you specifically looking for? Are you looking for long, lanky, short, bushy? Give us your rundown.
Yeah. So um I look at really it starts off at the seed level and who's popping first, who's aggressive and all those things, and I'll put a little mark with them. And I assume that in veg they'll be aggressive also. Maybe they're just an aggressive seed and they're a crappy plant, but you got a good seed pop, you got cotyledons come out quick, you can see like, oh, that one popped quick. I'll give that a mark. And then in veg, I'm watching to see how fat those fan leaves are going to get. That's the motor. If I can get big bushy fan leaves going early in veg, that's what I like to see. I don't like to see it struggling to go. I'm not giving anything extra. I'm just feeding a basic, if it's a nutrient, but it'd be a JLF right now. I'll give it a weak JLF and see what it does. It ought to be able to grow in my compost and the soil that I grow in. It should be able to grow just fine without having some extra food given to it. So I'm kind of looking to see what they do at the early stage. And they get plucked out quick because I get them out quick because I don't want to see that weak growing veg plant again. I want it to be the strong growing veg plant. I want to see good veg growing every time. So if it's a weak growing veg plant, even if it's pretty, even if it's a female, I probably am like, okay, I'm going to cut you out. However, on the flip side, if I have a plant in veg that's growing aggressively and then I see that it's a male, I typically don't keep an aggressive growing male. The idea is I don't like to keep the hero male. I like to keep the runner up because that hero male is going to put so much of himself into her that you're going to see a lot of the male again. And, I'm not going for big, long, straight up meristems. I'm needing some bush. I'm needing some growth, but bush too. So I like to go for the second guy, the runner up, and I'll chop the king down. I won't use him because I want some more of the female genetic to come through. That's the idea for the breeding. But then once you get into flower, I'm basically keeping everything unless I messed up and missect somebody. But usually when we're in flower, it's all go. Everybody is expected to participate and compete, if you will. And when we get into flower, if I'm breeding, I'll breed everybody in flower, but I'm going to want the smell to be, I'm looking for the terp. That's the person I'll carry on usually is the strong fruity terps. That's what I'm breeding right now is heavy candy fruit, some citrusy, but real fruity berries is what it is. I'm breeding for that right now. So I want the terps to really shine through. And the ones that shine through, they are the ones that we're going to breed next. And right now, it's the heavy hitters that I'm taking forward are my Bluetooth cross to Very Cherry. I'm taking Very Cherry cross to Bluetooth. We're going to have fun with that. And then the Dante's Inferno. That plant is amazing. Everybody that grows that sucker, I've always seen good pictures of it. But the cut that I've got, it's one of the frostiest plants that we've ever had. However, it has very little smell. That's the problem. So we're trying to bring the frost over, and I'm trying to hit it hard with some of my fruity terp. But there's the Bluetooth cross, the Very Cherry cross, Dante's Inferno cross, and possibly the Chimera too. It's supposedly supposed to be very good flower rosin. It's an extremely aggressive plant. I have never grown such an aggressive plant. Whenever I brought the Chimera, their clones too. I brought 3 Chimera clones in, and I kept 2 of them. They were the smallest plants when I brought them in. Right now, they are the tallest plants. They more than doubled in size. I've never had a plant actually double in size on the switch, but once they got done stretching, they had more than doubled in size. They're unbelievably aggressive growing plants. So I don't really want that for indoors. That's not my thing. But for an outdoor plant, if I can get a 16-footer that is just crazy bushy and I'm pulling off, like 30 pounds wet or something crazy like that, that would be fun. Because I'll have all that turned into flower rosin, right? Or hash rosin. It'll get washed and I'll have big ballers just sitting in my refrigerator. That's my goal for the summertime. So it's my breeding starts at the seed level, I think. I'll throw stuff away. I'll start off with lots and lots of seeds. I'll start off with 60 to 100 seeds just for Gasoline Alley, and I end up with about 20 plants. So my numbers are always high because I expect to chop down. I'm wanting to get stuff out, and I just want a few of the leftovers that were evidently better than the rest.
No, I was definitely looking at mine. I like what you said about looking at the cotyledon when it pops out, right? How quick it popped out after it hit the soil. I like when you see them things, they're only an inch out of the soil. They're already standing tall. Cotyledons are popping out. You already, not every time I see those long, lanky, they want to stretch and they're getting the same light that, that short, stubby one's getting. You just know, you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want you, man.
It is that, and that's why Caribou. That's why I was like, that's what a man does when he's in the flower. In flower, he'll chop everything down. You got to chop stuff down. There are good plants out there, or in your grow. If you're popping from seed and you got the genetic variety in there, you're gonna have good plants and bad plants. And if you can just chop those bad ones down, and you're gonna start getting rid of weak genetics. If you're a breeder, if you want to breed, constantly going with those better plants, and you are going to end up with that great genetic bank. I've got a big old tub full of just my own stuff, and I feel that every bit of it is very good just because of removal of weak stuff and knowing that I'm using good genetics every time I breed. This time I've been doing a lot of the individual branch, single branch breeding is what it's called. Because with cannabis, you can breed one branch with a pollen, and you can breed another branch with a different pollen. And so the last probably 4 breeding cycles, I've done single branch pollination, and I've gotten a ton of variety of genetics. I don't have a lot of seed, it's small batch, but I have a big variety of genetics, and it's been fun because I've been able to pop a lot of stuff and be able to see into the genetics, and really see just a lot of stuff. Again, I don't have a lot of seed, so that's actually why I reversed that one plant that we lost everything. It was an S1. I wanted to reverse it, keep those genetics, because that's the one, dude. That is awesome. And of course, all those went bye-bye.
I find knowing a genetic is not just as good as quality genetic, but it's part of it. Running plants that is half the battle. You know what I mean? So. That's cool.
You're exactly right.
Built up some of your own stuff to super quality because you've got the quality genetics there to begin with, and the genetics. Win-win.
Yes, I love knowing what I'm breeding. There's plenty of times where I just cross 2 things because I heard they were good, and then whatever I got them from people, I'm gonna cross them and put them in a bag, and I've got them. Right, just have fun. But when what I'm breeding right now, I'm breeding for winning cups. I want to enter it. I want a commercial grower to have grown it, put it in a dispensary, people smoked it, then it's turned into hash rosin for competition. That's what I'm going for with these strains right here. And many of my strains in this shed right here, many of them that are in there are in dispensaries in Oklahoma right now. So I know what they look like. I know what they're going to taste like. I know the testing results that they should be getting every time. So I am bringing that information to whatever else I'm getting, and I should have a good idea of what I should be seeing when I pop stuff. I ought to be able to say this. Oh, that look is from mama, or oh, that look was from daddy. I ought to be able to at least have enough familiarity with both of them that I can say that genetic is being emphasized from its mother, something like that.
I've been running some of my stuff outdoors and indoors. Sometimes it correlates, sometimes it doesn't, but you just get to know the strains just by having them around for multiple runs, and makes it a little easier. Sometimes second run, you're like, I was second guessing it, but this plant's got to go. This is It was bad enough the first time.
Do you notice the same genetic look different outside than from inside?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like for instance, I did a DJ Short blueberry cut that got sent to me, which is I'm not sure, but apparently it's verified, and it is dynamite indoors. Outdoors, not so much. It was very, very, very leafy. Kind of a beast of an outdoor plant for trimming wise and just holding moisture. And it was getting PM, and it was no good. Indoors, it was completely opposite. So it's like that's weird, but it was the exact cut because I took clones from the plant from outside and flowered them in the tent. So
yeah, I'll always ask breeders. I'm like, what does it look outside? What does it look inside? Because you got to know what it looked like outside and inside for sure, because they look totally different. No
the
doubt.
cut I have is not recommended for outdoors, not by me anyways. And I do all right. I usually got some, I got some pretty good plants outdoors usually. They're good big plants, but they're just there's a lot more jars of that on the shelf sitting there doing nothing than anything else, right? So
yeah,
that's the test right there.
Yep. What do you keep going back to?
It's funny though because it is curing up nice, so there's tons of flavor on it. It was a bitch to deal with, so that's why I think I had a little distaste for it. But now that it's been cured up and have been untouched since October, November, it's got that nice. It doesn't have quite the taste and flavor as the indoor stuff, but it does have a very, very good joint flavor to it, anyways. For nice cheap outdoor. It's good. You can roll big ones. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Give your buddies handfuls of it.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I do with all this, man. There's a guy that moved here from California, and I know him from Instagram. He's like, I'm moving to Tulsa, man. I was like, holy cow, holler at me when you get here. And so he hollers at me when he got here, and he's like, man, I'm not gonna have a card for like 3 weeks. I can't buy weed in dispensaries and all that. And I was like, I got you. I got so much summer weed. It'll be flower, that'll be it. But hook him up with like 3 ounces. Summer weed, heck yeah. I love growing summer plants, man. I love gardening though. I've always gardened, always grown stuff. So outside is just a joy to me to grow cannabis, because again, it was illegal for so long. It feels like a weight off your shoulders to see these giant plants outside, and you're just like taking pictures of them and showing people. It's so free, and so there's so much more joy to it. With tomatoes, it's fun because I'm gonna eat them, and I love tomatoes. But when I look at cannabis, tomatoes don't have the history cannabis does in Oklahoma. And so just looking at that big glorious used to be illegal plant growing, just beautiful.
Well, and you were talking about the looks of them growing differently as they're in indoors and outdoors. My Hawaiian that I've done multiple runs in and out, it ends up with a completely different terp profile, indoors and outdoors. And so that's another thing is you can barely even tell it's the same plant.
Yeah, you bet. It can be totally different. The environment pulls out different stuff from that plant for sure.
Yeah, and I prefer, it kind of depends on what you want when you smoke it, but I prefer it outdoors usually. So I got to keep it around all winter just so I can grow it outdoors.
Yep. Hey, so G-Bear, how do you clone? How are you cloning your stuff?
I'm using a homemade arrow cloner, so it's got a little submersible pump with a little bit of piping and some sprayers on it, and I just put them in those foam collars. And it was funny, I just had this stuff out here too. So the old school stem root #2. This stuff works pretty good. And last run I just did, I got roots in 8 or 9 days, I think. So I was stoked on that. I let them sit in there for 10 or 11 just to get a little longer, but.
Yeah. When so that's exactly what I have. When cannabis became legal in Oklahoma, I didn't even know about aquaponics stuff, right? I had no idea. We're in the dark, y'all, right? I had no idea that you could spray stuff on a stem of something and get it to root. No idea. So we started figuring out that in Glenpool, there's a bunch of grows. But anyway, we started going to Lowe's and making these cloners and buying the buckets, the PVC pipe, the little fish pull motor, and just saying, selling them for $100 and saying, you can put 100 clones in here. You can put more than one clone in these little deals. And yeah, there you are, just like that. Exactly. And people started, because they're trying to clone by taking cuts and putting them in the rock wool and, hoping it takes. And, it could take in 2 to 3 weeks maybe. And those, like you said, those cloners, man, you get good high temperatures. I would always have my water temperature like about 85 or higher. And then the environment, in the high 80s and 90s, you get roots fast. But we would make those and sell them. I still got like 6 of them up in my attic, right, in my shed.
Well, that's it. I went to go build that one, and it was like, okay, I gotta go to this store to get this and this and that. Phone my buddy. I'm like, you got any more of the parts you used to build this? He's like, well, no, you can go here, go that. I said, here, I'll e-transfer you the amount of money it's gonna take for you to Amazon all the parts to your house. Build yourself a brand new one.
Perfect.
I'm gonna keep this one. He's like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm like, yeah, I can't. I'm not going to build one. I'll just keep this one. I paid him handsomely.
I used to before I learned about that cloning stuff, aquaponic stuff. I would take a cutting of a cannabis plant and I'd put it in a 1 gallon pot, and I'd take a couple cuttings, put in 1 gallon pot of dirt, put the cuttings in the dirt, and then put a Ziploc bag over the top and tie it tight so they would keep the heat and the humidity in there. And that actually worked quite well. It was no gel, no nothing. It was just in the dirt with the humidity on the top and kept it there. Take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, but it worked.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like Hillbilly in chat here is just laughing. He's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, buddy, you got to make another one." But it was like he was helping me get clones at the time, so it made sense. I'm like, like we're doing a lot of driving and talking and transaction and shit here. When you could just sell me this cloner and we could be done with this.
No doubt.
Yeah. And the same thing, I used to do the Rockwell cubes or the Jiffy. I'd buy the trays with the little rapid rooters, they're called.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, me too.
I get clones. I was successful, but not like this.
Oh no, that's too easy. That's so
90
easy.
to 100% probably. Easy.
Totally.
I always using the peat puffs myself, but when I had to stop growing in the old life, and I had to restart from new lights, new tent, everything, right? You're starting life brand new over. I decided to try out a cloner, and I fucking love it. And there's once in a while where I think about just doing a smaller run of let's say you only need like 8 or 9 clones instead of firing up the whole cloner. And then you think about what are you going to put them on? Probably one of those black propagation trays, right? Which is really not much smaller than my fucking cloner. So it's just going to that and the ease of it. You plug it in, and I don't usually check it again for about a week. Don't even fucking look at it. Just fucking leave it on, let it do its fucking thing, and then I'll come back, fucking maybe change the water out, add some microbes or something like that, and away we go. And that's around the time I'll start lid on, off, and start spelling it with that, so I can take the lid off for after a couple days and leave it off.
So, G-Bait, do you like Caribou said, he might add microbes. Do you add anything to your water in that clonator?
In the clone, no, I've been kind of scared I don't really.
You can.
I don't know anything about it, like what I should be adding or what would be safe and what, you know what I mean? So what I usually try to do is I'll try to cut a clone from a jacked up plant so that it's got enough nutrient to carry it. And then I sometimes spray light plant food mix, just on the clone as like a mist, but I don't really know what that does or if it does anything. But
so you can, once that cutting has a root tip develops, it's ready to eat nutrient. And what I would do is let's see, let me get a bottle.
Yeah, because I have a bad habit of getting my clones a little yellow.
They need some food for real. So like this is just like some kind of bottle as an example. What I would do is shake it, get stuff on the lid, and just wash the lid in the water. And it's a very, very light newt, you know, it's hardly any food at all, but it's just enough that it's going to give your plant a little bit of food. You'll see a better color in them too. Give them a little food. I'm telling you, they'll start to go nuts, and those roots will grow so long that you'll have to cut them off. You can cut roots off just like hair cutting them. Cut them, boom, right back off at the top. Because if they get too long, they're hard to transplant. They don't transplant well. You want them short roots. That's what I always find. But yeah, a little food helps them out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that for sure.
I did that. I used to commercial grow, and we needed about 1,000 clones, you know, every 3 weeks or so. And I was like, dang, that's a lot. And I built a bunch of those clone machines. Do what?
That's
a full-time job. Yeah, yes, full-time. That's cloning constantly. I mean, to imagine how many you're taking more than 1,000 cuts, you know, and you're keeping the good cuts. So it was a lot of work. But I was like, man, we got to get these babies growing faster. And so I just started feeding them a little bit of food, and they took off. It definitely made a good difference, because you know they will. If they sit there too long, they'll start to yellow some, and they start to get a couple of unhealthy leaves because they got to kill them off. But yeah, try it.
Yeah, I definitely will, because this little setup I got going here is I got 4x4 tent that's got that cloner in it, and then beside it I can fit a good dozen or so half-gallon pots, and then I've got a 4x8 tent over here. That's the flower tent. It's got two bigger lights in it, and the full fan system and the whole nine, and controllers and blah blah blah. So I've always been kind of just messing around. I could be in a strain slut, popping seeds here and there, willy nilly, nothing on a time line, you know, just whatever, growing by just whatever. This time I think I'm gonna sort of go systematically and put a little bit of a system together on it. See if what's the word that I'm looking for here? Like repeatable, you know what I mean? Like now that I'm trying to squish some stuff, can't really be guessing all the time anymore. So.
You got perpetual grow going on now.
Yeah,
I'm growing and cloning and growing and cloning.
Yeah, getting a little more professional here. Hello, it's G-Bay.
You croaked the frog earlier, and I didn't hit my dab. I was talking.
No. There we go.
There you go.
There you go.
Y'all binge watch any shows ever? Any y'all watch Pinky Blinders on Netflix?
That's one my kid had told me that we need to start looking into.
Oh, that's good, dude. It's good. I binge watched that whole thing in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, me and the wife are trying to get through Ozarks right now.
Oh, I love it. I watched it all, dude. That is so good. You like it?
Oh, yeah, man. It gets good. I mean, you know, it starts getting a little far-fetched and ridiculous, but you know, all those shows get like that.
You know, those Netflix shows, if you just watch, it don't matter, watch one, just pick one. They can make that show so good you'll want to watch the next one. You know, they just know how to make a movie that you're like, oh, I got to see what's next.
Actually, we started watching that Wednesday.
Yes, my wife and kid are watching those right now.
Dude, I dug the shit out of that one. I dug the shit out of it. Yeah.
So the format of the video looks cool. I was watching a little bit of it, you know, the look of it looks cool to me.
It's enough Addams Family to keep you happy, but like it's got a pretty cool new twist to it.
My kid, she'll be 9 in 2 months, something like that. And she started watching that not long after Christmas. The last time she was over here this last weekend, she looks at me. Guess how many times I've watched Wednesday now? 5, 6. She's on her 6th time through the series. Just loves it.
And y'all watch The Office? That's good.
I don't think I've watched it all, but definitely watched The Office. That's some funny shit.
It's good stuff, dude. I love it.
Miss G-Bay here is watching one called The Superstore.
Oh, but even better than that, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's hilarious.
Is that a good one? I've seen that.
Yeah,
Superstore. I thought it was kind of funny though.
The
It's like
Superstore is good too. It's like
Walmart employees.
pretty much. It makes fun of like big box store customers and the employees. It's all based around the employees, but then like I don't know, like between skits, kind of like it'll just kind of like show you through the store aisles, and there's people
Security
opening
cameras.
shit and trying it, just putting it back, and like I don't know, it's just. And then like the relationships and everything that happens between all these store employees, and it's just if anyone's ever worked retail, you'd get a laugh out of it. It's fucking hilarious. It's based out of St. Louis. Yeah.
Say it again, Superstore. What's the name of that?
yeah, it's called Superstore.
Superstore, okay.
Superstore.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny. I think we watched the first season or two. It's pretty damn.
It's your
funny.
typical, laugh track comedy, but
There was really only a few episodes though out of all the seasons that I was kind of like, it was all right. Otherwise,
hell
the rest
yeah.
of them were pretty funny.
F is for family.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm not really one for like cop shows, but it was flipping hilarious.
Well, good. I got
F
it.
is for family is
watch
my
that.
jam. Yes, you are right.
Yeah, F is for family is hilarious, dude.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
I will throw you through the fucking wall. It's like that's my dad.
I will build a wall and fucking put you through it.
Yeah, don't
I
make me
will
fucking
beat
build
your
a wall,
ass.
so-
Come here, sweetie. I love you, sugar pie. He loves his daughter and he can't stand his boys.
Oh fuck, so funny, man. So funny.
I don't know why, but it
You see what you did to her?
makes me
Yeah.
laugh at, like the dinner times when he's like so on edge, like just ready to fucking blow, and then the phone will ring or something, and he just loses his shit.
Oh, the very first episode, he's trying to have a nice dinner, and it's like
You know what?
guy, and he just starts smashing.
The older we all get, I feel more and more like him every day.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm totally like that, dude. Me and Frank
Wow,
Murphy have
dude.
a lot.
I feel like everything he says is my inner thoughts. I just try to filter it and not say them. Some of them come out, but
I'm a little more like his neighbor. Victor, is it?
you the creep?
No, not the creepy old dude. The radio
the
disc.
cokehead radio guy.
Yeah, the fucking Matt McConaughey looking dude.
Yeah.
Who walks around in the banana.
Oh, the one episode was so funny. Like the Sue, the wife, was like, "Oh, he's such a nice guy," and Frank's like, "He's gonna fucking kill someone someday." And he drives away, and he's got a line of coke on his steering wheel. He's like,
Yeah. I love that show, dude. He's so good. That's so funny.
is.
Because that's real stuff. The bunch of that is really happening to that kid's life. And now he's writing a story about. What's that comedian's name? What's his name
Bill
again?
Burr.
He's my favorite. Yeah.
So good.
He's good
Golly.
because he's pretty straight up. Like I like his comedy. He's pretty funny.
Have you heard his comedy about abortion?
That was good.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure I have.
I'm not trying to be crass or anything, but it's just so true. He's like, yeah, I mean, I'm fine if you want to have an abortion, it's your choice. And then he's like, but you kill the baby, and it's just going back and forth. He's taking both sides, he's not trying to please anybody. And it's just
That's
like,
what I
yeah,
like
dude,
about him.
exactly.
That's what I like about him. He likes to stir the pot without really giving his own biased opinion. in a
Yeah,
way.
just saying what's true and seeing what we think. I love that kind of comedy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I haven't sat down and watched a good comedy in a while, but I like some good stand-up. It's hard because every once in a while you put one on and it just kind of sucks. You're like, ah. But then you get the good ones. Maybe you're just ripped. I don't know, but fuck, you laugh the whole time through it. We watched some, what was it, Wipeout the other day? That's a classic. people getting smashed off into the water. And shit.
Even better. MXC.
Wipeout's awesome, dude.
MXC, that was a good one, the old one.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
Yes.
You guys remember that at all? No? You guys got to check that out.
I didn't watch that one.
It's an old show from like, I don't know, somewhere over in Asia somewhere.
It's so bad. It's so good.
But yeah, it's it's bad, but it's funny. People hurt themselves. It's like Wipeout, but it's in foreign language, so they dub over it in English, and they don't really use the proper translation. It turns out to be a little...
You are super high watching this, aren't you?
Oh,
I can
yeah.
see it.
So
She said it's so bad it's good, and you're like, it's dubbed over with bad English. That's awesome.
It is. My dad and I used to watch it while I was growing up. Like, it's so inappropriate. It's so funny. Oh my god.
That's funny.
Yeah, people get hurt. Not hurt, but...
Yeah, they do.
Oh, I
The
guess.
sports they make them do are not safe.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's no OSHA over there.
Oh, God.
Oh, Letterkenny, that's a Canadian classic right there.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Pitter patter. Oh, and Trailer Park Boys, that's another classic.
Yeah, Letterkenny's a great one if you've never seen that.
Dude, that's so good.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned Tim Allen up there.
Yeah, the Trailer Park Boys is good. If you, a lot of those shows though are like reference to an older show, so if you don't watch the whole, you don't know the whole group of boys and their whole story, sometimes something doesn't make sense, right?
That show doesn't make sense at any point in time ever. Even if
Well,
you-
that's the thing. You gotta watch
So that's the
episode
beauty of
one, episode 1 and on, and there's little Easter eggs in each episode that carry on to the next.
Okay.
Oh, it's so good.
It's like How I Met
Good
Your
stuff,
Brother.
though.
You can't just like jump into it.
All right, guys, we're getting into overtime here. About time to start shutting her down. I want to thank you again for jumping on with us, man. Especially since it was short notice and we weren't able to, it was just kind of springing on you. Hey, want to come hang out for a bit? You're fucking cool.
I like hanging out with y'all.
Great time. You got anything else you want to get out there before we jump out of here?
Man, just go check out Okcalyxx Genetics, man. Go learn how to do some Jadam stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, right on.
It's
All right.
definitely fun to watch for sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
that's-
And if you haven't gone and checked him out on fucking Instagram, go do that shit because he's putting all this information out there for free. He's doing it right in front of you. I mean, props to you for all the videos that you're putting out there for everybody, man.
Appreciate it. You bet, man.
Great
You
content. Great content.
Appreciate it. Yeah, holler at me again, y'all. Let's chat. I love chatting with you guys. Lots of fun.
Fuck yeah, dude. We'll get you back before long. It's absolutely. You're a lot of fun to hang out with. Everyone hanging out in the chat, thank you so much for your support. Time and again. Great time in there as always. We're going to get out of here. You know how we do it. Time to rock and roll.
Take me down to the graveyard. Show me a resting place. Take this worry away from me. My final bed to lay. I need asylum. something, and I dug myself a hole. The pain I had buried me. The youth that want me turn me cold. I need asylum in prison. Forgotten and buried. Forgotten and buried. Well, I guess I'll never think about the future. 'Cause I've been wrong before. Well, I guess I'll never think about the future. 'Cause I've been wrong before. Well, I guess I'll never think about the future. I've been wrong before. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been so wrong. I've been so wrong. I've been so wrong. I've been so wrong. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One last dab for Dags 420, since he asked so nicely.